Archimex login confirmed.
Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning. Dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Lodgecast. This is your Lodge Master. With me, as always, is Brother Bishki.
Yossi.
And Brother Lucas. Tonight, we are going deep into the bowels of a Burbank parking garage because we have an overstuffed episode. You may hear ominous laughter.
Mills is here.
That's the Lodge Mistress Millie. We have Brother Justin.
This is the sound of my voice.
And we have the preeminent Giallo scholar, the Dark Lord himself, Brother Ian.
I'm here.
So tonight's film, if you haven't guessed by our goblin intro, our goblin-esque intro, is Suspiria 2018. We're seeing a lot of remakes. We're seeing, well, Halloween was a sequel, but Halloween 2018, A Star is Born 2018,
yes,
and now Suspiria 2018. So, what's everybody's temperature on the original? Where's everybody at right now?
Saw it last night at midnight at the New Art Theater. It was. I think the whole audience was kind of puzzled. It was beautiful.
Maybe they didn't know what they were getting into.
I am a Dario Argento fan. I've seen everything from Bird with Crystal Plumage to opera, and I like everything. But it'll be interesting to see what Guadagnino does with this.
Well, and Ian, where are you at? Like, you've got to be an Argento freak, right?
Yes, I haven't watched his first film. I'm kind of missing out on that.
Yeah,
but I've seen a lot of this other stuff, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm in a balance actually because I'm not sure what I'm gonna be watching, what I'm gonna be expecting.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
well, when this movie was released, you came to me and you were like, I'm already mad, but I don't know why.
I'm not, to be honest, like remakes, I'm not too fond of remakes, honestly. I just keep it how a movie originally has to be. It's already been there. I'm just going to let it myself open to it and just see what happens.
Okay. Brother Justin, what is your history with Giallo?
Well, I think sometimes I ride the line between aggressive appreciation and not getting it at all. So the original I enjoy quite a bit. I think it looks amazing. I think the vibe is great. Obviously the soundtrack is legendary. Yeah. But yeah, I mean sometimes it's kind of got that artsy vibe where you're like, I'm appreciating the hell out of this. I don't know if I like it per se. I think maybe my, American sensibilities aren't exactly lining up with this, but as someone who went to art school and has watched a lot of bullshit, I can certainly sit back and enjoy that kind of thing.
Well, maybe Dakota Johnson will help with your American sensibilities.
Oh, of course.
Can't get more American than that.
Yeah. Well, are we going to talk about this director's previous film?
What is it? I don't know anything.
Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I think I might... I enjoyed. I think it's overly long, and I think Suspiria is
This movie clocks in at 2 hours and 32 minutes.
Holy cow! Yeah,
it is a full hour and 2 minutes longer than the original.
There better be more to the story than the original.
Yeah. I will say this: the most riveting scene of 2016 in cinema for me was wondering whether or not Armie Hammer was going to take a bite of that peach.
There was some high tension there.
If he can channel that tension into this movie, I mean, he did that with a peach.
But I do hope that this one has more story. If
You'd have to be insane to say that there's no way you could improve upon the plot.
Well, let me tell you my experience with Suspiria.
Yeah.
Which is, the first time I ever saw it, I was in this class called Film and Horror, Duke University.
Exciting.
And immediately when I saw that it was dubbed, I took a nap.
Okay.
So
Fair.
I slept through the entire thing. And then recently Matt and I saw it again, and I was like, this is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I really
Greatly,
enjoyed it. And
greatly.
I really am excited to see what they do with the 2018 style.
We got 2.5 hours of movie to get through. We're gonna hit MacGuffins probably.
Yeah, you'll pick me up.
We're gonna strap ourselves in, and we'll be back in this creepy corner of this Burbank parking ramp to deliver the horrific results.
To watch Suspiria.
Suspiria.
Didn't Rihanna do the theme song?
Yeah, I think she did. Suspiria.
Is it Suspiria?
Disturbia.
Disturbia. Okay, whatever.
All
I was
right.
trying to be funny.
I'm sorry.
We'll see you guys on the other side if we survive. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and push and jump. We are back in the parking ramp outside the Burbank 6, and we've picked up a couple new dancers in our troupe who happen to be at the Burbank 16. Brother Nathan.
Hey, we're here.
And Sister May. We have such a crew here right now to talk Suspiria. I almost said Disturbia. To talk Suspiria.
Is this the biggest crew ever?
No, I think Mandy was still the biggest, but this is
a strong coven.
This is a strong coven, yes. Before we get into it, because we're all trying to keep it bottled up inside us, let's get that schnapps.
From Rotten Tomatoes, a darkness swirls at the center of a world-renowned dance company, one that will engulf the troupe's artistic director, Swinton, an ambitious young dancer, Johnson, and a grieving psychotherapist, Ebersdorf. Some will succumb to the nightmare, others will finally wake up.
Ooh, tantalizing.
A clue.
Okay, so we talked a little bit in the intro about hoping that it had a little more story this time. I don't think that happened. Does anybody disagree?
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, like how do we open? Like, does anyone understand what's happening?
The added story I would have cut first.
Yes.
The love story.
So we begin with Swinton in old age makeup as the elder gentleman.
I thought that too. Does anyone else think that? I mean, everyone thinks that.
Yeah, Ebersdorf.
It looked like
She's the old man.
I think she is.
Yes.
I read that she was in
and
two
she
parts.
looks
I thought it was a young man, at least.
she looks exactly like Michael Jackson in Ghosts.
Yeah, the wrinkles don't move.
No, they don't. Something's
her
up.
Forehead, yeah.
And we begin there with Chloë Grace Moretz just kind of showing up, like running from the dance company. I don't know, like I feel like we should have started with like a big kill or something, kind of like in the original movie. Like it really showed, like it threw down the gauntlet.
Slow burn.
Yeah,
This
that
movie-
fizzled out immediately.
Yeah.
That intro scene.
This movie is a slow burn, but there is some nutrients to be had, I think.
I almost fell asleep like 5 times in that first 15.
It got me. I
Lucas, when were you out? What was your sleep report?
I was out like at least 2/3, man. Like, but in waves. I would come in at like
Anytime it
Blue
looked
Town
really
Tracker
cold,
was getting-
Lucas fell asleep.
Oh, did you notice that?
I wanted to join him so bad.
Well, part of the issue in our screening was it was projected really dark.
Yeah, it doesn't help
And
when you have a all muted color palette.
it is
It's
almost
raining.
perversely lacking of
and the
color.
subtitles look like 3D words without the 3D glasses. Like it was.
Well-
Oh, they did have shadows, so it
They
was.
they do
Yes.
have color drop shadows.
Color drop shadows.
Red and blue.
Yeah.
And I feel like those have a significance.
But
Yeah.
the rest of the movie is almost perversely devoid of color until the end, which I guess that can be part of the strategy to make that pop even more. But at 2.5 hours long, like, give us a couple more pops of color. I mean, come on.
Well, the ghost or the spectral things
Sure,
that we
sure.
see, the light, those are prismatic colors. Those had a lot of color, which I felt was a reference to the very colorful original Suspiria. That's
Sure.
what you're pointing to.
But when the projector is so dim, it doesn't matter, and you go sleepy time.
You guys got to all see it again.
I know. Well, that's what I told the manager. I'm like, I came out here and I told you twice personally to brighten it, and he's like, sir, go get your pass. And I'm like, yes and yes.
Did you guys all get passes? What a whiff.
Oh, man.
But anyway, so the story, as it is Dakota Johnson leaves her Amish lifestyle
Mennonite.
to go be in this dance company, and then there's witches afoot, and there's an old man doddering around, kind of sniffing around, trying to figure out what's going on. Sort of.
Because Chloë Grace disappeared after the cold open.
She did.
Never to be seen again, right?
Well, no, I think he slept through when she
Oh,
was
okay.
seen
She
again.
fled the
We'll
dance
get there. We'll get there.
And you want an expert on the Beider Meinhof group in the late 70s, Germany? There you go.
They were considered like a political radical, anarchist, communist, socialist group.
What I enjoyed about sitting next to Ian was that there'd be certain moments, like when an occult book was seen for the first time, he'd just intone, It's like when somebody's at the door and my cat is like something's up, something's afoot. So I would definitely sit up a little bit when I heard Ian growl.
So what I've noticed in the movie, there's like occult, witchcraft, liberation. There's politics involved. The whole movie's mostly like doom and gloom, kind of.
Yeah.
Because it's raining, it's snow, it's dark.
Very dark.
So it kind of reflected in that time what was going on, like
Yeah.
in Europe, in the good old days of the Cold War, I could say.
Yeah.
But
question though is,
yeah.
did we want any of that
in this movie?
Yeah.
Or in terms of the politics stuff, like, did we want that subplot? Did we want...
Yeah, I that's what I'm wondering as well. It's like this movie is almost devoid of color and completely devoid of fun until a certain key point. And even at that point, I think it's more played for, high art, disturbing rather than quote unquote fun. So, did anybody think this was a fun movie?
No way. I know that epilogue.
Millie's gonna try. She's gonna
Millie?
try. She's
I
trying.
mean, no, I wouldn't say fun, but I would say there was a lot about it I really did enjoy.
Sure.
Yeah, but not fun.
Let's get into what we enjoyed. I think the point where I really had hope, my hope just shot up, was the first death scene where Tilda Swinton has imbued Dakota Johnson with witch powers, and she basically turns another student in a separate room into a dance voodoo doll while she's doing this very...
More like a pretzel.
Like a pretzel doll.
That's what I even thought. I was thinking about it when I saw that part. I thought, that's like a pretzel.
I was awake for that. That was pretty
But
cool.
every move she makes would like crack the bone of the other girl. It went on, and it was fantastic.
That was a high point of the movie.
That's a high point of cinema.
Yeah, when all the witches came and hooked her out. That was
I mean, it is disturbing. Talk about Disturbia.
That room had the sturdiest mirrors in cinema history. Mirrors in movies aren't ever that sturdy.
But after that, it's kind of okay. To talk about this old man character, I would like to make a cut of this movie that completely removes him.
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
controversial at all?
No.
Like, what did that add to Suspiria?
Nothing.
I don't know. I don't know.
All I can think is he's a character that's asking questions and actually spelling out some of the things that are complete
But why not have a
mystery to
hot
the viewer.
cop?
A hot cop. Well, because it's Tilda in old man makeup for some reason.
And look at what they did to the cops.
That's true. That's true.
That's
And I
very
mean,
disturbing.
as someone who's an aspiring filmmaker myself, I want to be on the side of the creators and say, like, well,
Sure.
studio executives always ruin things. They're always trying to make things more palatable so they can make money because they're
Yeah.
greedy. And auteurs, need to do what they do.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'll watch a movie and I'm like, some asshole in a suit could have improved this by going, what the fuck are you doing with some of this?
When I saw that character doing a very deliberate hobble down the street, I'm like, this is Swinton ego. That's what we're watching right now.
Yeah, but I don't know because, I'm going to skip a little, but it's like, it almost is like this is the gentleman's story because we sort of end with his image, which is
But why?
weird. I don't know why.
Why, Millie? Why did you do
don't
it like
know.
that?
That's why I think it's like kind of his story, which is weird in a story of all women.
Here's my main concern about this movie is in the first one, it is the lady's story. It's her journey. She's the one that starts suspecting that there's witches afoot. In this movie, the witches are afoot. We know that.
It's spelled out,
we see their groups. We see them voting.
They hook them.
There is no mystery
we see
there.
them conspiring. We see them talking. I think they did rightly choose the one detail from the original that's very successful is the dance academy. Her being prepped. I think those dance sequences are thrilling.
Great.
They're spooky. They're in that witchy thing. But where it goes with the subplot of the old man, I'm not sure. Other than drawing attention,
It feels at odds.
I do like that it was like an experimental kind of avant-garde dance group versus ballet in the first one. Because I think when you get into that experimental avant-garde, the way that the teachers talk and things get really like I just remember experimental film school where they just fuck with your mind with like all their like different theories on things and stuff like that, and then it kind of got into like almost like a witchcraft type area where you're dealing with like dark arts.
There's plenty of movie there to go around.
Yeah.
So why are we doddering around with this old guy?
I think also it's because he's the witness, and since the protagonist turns, I think it's like you need somebody who's like you're with.
Yeah, but if you remove him from the movie, okay, so
this director loves sad men. And in a coven of dancing witches, there aren't enough sad men.
That's true.
How can we add 40 minutes of sad men?
That's true.
It goes by like the chapter, like the beginning.
Six
of the
chapters
act,
and an
six
epilogue.
Chapters, an epilogue, and it kind of reminds me of like a record from the '70s prog band. It
Yes.
tells you a song.
Very
the song,
astute.
It builds up, and then at the end it just goes crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of that. And I was like, it kind of fits the time because it was in the '70s in the storyline. Like the
Yes.
original was in the '70s, so it kind of had that feel to it.
What do we think of Tom York?
Be honest, look.
You were making some bad growls during that.
It's the music's pretty decent. I like the score. It's okay. I mean, I prefer Goblin to be honest, but
Well, of course.
But what I didn't like was the beginning. He sings. I said I would have just let the
Not-
music
Over the Amish.
That
was like Sufjan in Call Me by Your Name when Sufjan came on, because it's a period piece. And then Sufjan just shows up. It takes you out of the whole period.
I agree with the lyrics do bring me out because they're almost spelling out like, should I be listening to the lyrics? There's one that's like, you're inside me, ooh, and you're like, should I, is this spelling out like
nice
narrative
acoustics
stuff? I mean,
out
we're in a
here.
movie, we're in a movie that's doing that. So I think the inclusion of it is, I think we're supposed to look at the lyrics, but I do think it was very jarring, and it felt folky kind of in a weird way.
To me, it felt as at odds with the movie as the old man doddering around. Like the music, just like.
Don't forget the extended scenes of middle-aged women eating and drinking and smoking.
That's true.
Well, people are yawning.
There is a lot of atmosphere, but I think what we've been seeing lately too, especially with Halloween, and which is interesting because if David Gordon Green was offered this movie, very weird. But these remakes and updates and sequels are being given to people who appreciate the source material, but they're not necessarily driven to make it. That's why we get Halloween that's kind of funky in a bad way, in my opinion. That's why we get Suspiria, which is kind of a interpretive dance Holocaust drama with some witches.
Well, this is at least a new vision. Like Halloween was not at all a new vision.
A couple nominations for Salad Dragon scene. When the cops come by, we see them kind of arrive at the dance academy, and then we kind of lose track of them, and then old Dakota goes creeping around in some files and oversees a couple of the witches taunting one of the cops who is naked, and they are playing with his penis with a hook.
Yeah.
And
the witch's hook.
Oh, the witch's hook.
It was named as a witch's hook created by.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, nice.
Did you guys stay to the end? There was a final moment.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Dakota is standing outside the building of the old man, and she does something with her hands in a magical fashion.
All right.
And then it says the end.
Great.
She moves on.
Great.
Hashtag mind blown.
Hashtag you slept through it.
But the other.
It was too dark.
I think the true Salad Dragon though is the final chapter.
Yeah.
Which is
CGI Blood City, baby.
We've gone through all the beats of the original, and we know that there is a ritual coming up, and there is a ritual that is performed, and it is quite amazing. I mean, what did everybody think about that shit?
I appreciated some of the attempts at, that optical weirdness with the different kind of shutter speeds and all that stuff. I think it was just kind of too busy, and I mean, maybe I'm just a moron, but I wasn't quite with it at that point, so it was just kind of unearned nonsense to me.
There did seem to be like one too many characters. I did like Mia Goth in this. I thought she was witchy. She's the friend, you guys know, and she was very. She felt like right one, and she was in a situation where she was figuring out that this coven is it was for the viewer more than Dakota was. So she had potential to be a protagonist for me. I liked her, but where she went was very different than what I thought was going to happen there.
Well, and Chloë Grace Moretz shows up again as kind of a Linda Blair kind of a salad monster. I don't know.
She showed up as a bloated corpse.
Why did she take this role?
Why would you do that?
Why would you take this role if you were her? I don't know.
Indie cred, artistic.
I get that's what she thought, but what ends up there, it's a strange role.
Let's talk about Tilda. I think she's like ageless somehow.
Yeah.
And this is like every time I see her, I'm like, this is the role that she was born to play. Because the cult leader in The Beach, like there's so many roles where she is like so well cast, and she's flawless in this. Like she is so odd and strange
and completely believable.
Oh yeah. And looks like
not as the man, but
not
as the dance instructor. Let's be clear here. Well, does anybody else have anything to add about the tale that was told?
I mean, I'll add this. I enjoyed the middle-aged women sitting around and talking and drinking.
You don't see that often.
Because I feel like I've seen so many goddamn movies where guys do that, and mob
and they're
movies
being real
and blah,
witty.
blah, blah, and I don't even care.
Those
but
scenes of drinking and smoking really felt like Argento to me. Those Argento films are very quiet.
It felt 70s.
Very European. Yeah, there's sometimes people just drinking scotch and looking like shit.
And smoking.
And everyone's
and you
smoking.
don't get to see women that age on film that much. And so I just feel like to get to see them sit there and talk, I was into it. I mean, I liked sort of the group camaraderie of women. This was like a ton of women. I was super into that.
Evil women.
Sure.
The mob guys are funny, though. What were these ladies talking about?
Yeah, what were they talking about?
They were plotting.
They were talking while Tom York was over top going,
I want to be inside you. I was just like,
all right, we got a lot of people here, so let's save Ian the Dark Lord for last. Bishki, what are you doing with the bones here? Talk us through it.
Say I got puzzled again by Suspiria.
You got puzzled.
I got puzzled last night, and then with the original, but in a whole new way, I got puzzled tonight. So I hate to be like kind of middle of the road.
Be whatever you want.
But I did like a lot of things in it, but it needed an editor to just really tighten it into the best components. I thought 2 bones.
That's a 2-boner. Brother Justin.
This is a 1.5 bone movie for me. I don't like this director one bit. I think he's trying to convince the world that he's brilliant and smart, and if you don't understand what's going on, you might be dumb, and you can fucking cram it with that attitude. I don't need you. I don't need your movies.
Cram it. That's 1.5 bones from Brother Justin.
Well, I think processing it now, the pace is really the big offender to me. There's so many ups and downs. I thought I wanted to wait till I saw the whole film to see if the moments of violence and the moments of the dance are real kinetic to me, and I thought they were really well executed. I think Tilda and Dakota is actually, I mean, I thought she was actually really solid in this, and I'm looking for her to be, maybe not as strong. So for me, I appreciate
everybody's out to get Dakota.
For me, I appreciate that they stepped away from all the things that Suspiria was, because you can't do Argento, you can't do the color, you can't do the peacock feathers and the labyrinth, ballet thing. It's such an amazing movie, and what's missing for me is the Goblin score, which is really what maybe this film could have used a propulsive score that kept it going, especially during the dance sequences. So I missed that. I really wanted to really love this one and dig in, but I'm 2 bones on this one.
That's a solid 2.
Solid 2.
Sister May.
Since I don't like horror, and Nate wasn't sure if I would be able to handle it.
I don't know if it is a horror movie.
I mean that first like
the puppet
kill,
dance.
the puppet dance, like that was
pretty rad.
I'm not body horror is terrible to me. It's like my nightmares. But
you'll sleep well tonight.
Dakota and Tilda's mother role, not the old man.
Yes.
Those were solid. I would say probably 2 bones too.
That's a solid 2. Lodge Mistress Millie.
You know, I enjoyed this. I thought it was bizarre, but I thought it took.
I couldn't read you.
It took a real turn from the original, and they were very playful with the ending. I don't. With the way they turned Dakota's character, I don't think they sold the ending.
Right.
But I really loved Tilda's performance. I really liked the backstory of the weird other mother that was Dakota's mom.
Yeah.
The smear of sin. She was like, my daughter's a smear of sin. And I was like, you get a bone for that from me.
A full bone for a smear.
And I mean, not really, but kind of. And then
completely.
Yeah, I just like that it was so many women, and I loved the dancing, and I thought it was so kinetic.
It seems to be a theme going on here.
So, for me, really, it was a 3-boner.
3-boner?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a high point so far. Brother Lucas, I mean...
I gotta give a little PSA here. If you've been drinking or smoking or eating nachos, do not, under any circumstances, recline your seat back, because if it's too dark and there's subtitles, or it's not like a normal Hollywood plot, like you might drift, and if there's no one there to snap you out of it, you can find yourself like waking up on an ice drift, like in the middle of the Arctic.
Justin should have been your designated buddy.
But in the
poked buddy.
in the 2.5 hours, I felt like I was a sleeping, skipping rock, where I definitely was awake for that first voodoo dance kill, which went on forever, and I was like, wow, this is pretty gruesome. And then I dipped out, and then I dipped back in during Mia Goth's tormenting like torture, where she was like begging for them not to kill her anymore. And then the end, of course, where you think Dakota Johnson's in trouble, and really she's like, actually, I'm the one that you're all in trouble. Like, I'm the one that's going to end you all. And then the CG Bloodfest. I give it 2 bones. I could see people being really into this because of all the witchy women. But it was odd that it was
Does
like...
that check out, Millie?
But it was odd, though. I didn't understand why Tilda Swinton was in the old man makeup.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be an old man, right? It wasn't supposed to be a woman as an old man.
Michael Jackson as Rose.
It's just distracting, because I did hear about it before I'd seen it, so I was like, oh yeah, there she is, like, and she's definitely doing her best not to overact.
She couldn't really cry through the makeup.
No.
Yeah.
So it was dry heaving.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's 2 bones?
That's 2 bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dark Lord Brother Ian, what do you got? Everybody's waiting.
I'm gonna give it a 1.5 bones.
Oh wow.
I'm stuck with the original, and I keep it that way. But I do like this movie. It does have its up and.
Do you have a Suspiria pin? You have a Suspiria pin on your sweater. That's amazing. This man walks it like he talks it.
So, the movie, I don't know. Really, it's really hard to define it.
When you groaned with Tom York, that kind of said it all for me.
I mean, the score should have been like how Nate said it. Should have been a little bit more
propulsive.
Exactly. So, Tom York ain't bad. He did okay, but I prefer Goblin or someone else.
Sure. Goblin or someone else.
Someone else who, can play kind of that same Lena Chess Goblin or something. But,
so that's a 1.5 bones.
1.5 bones, but I like the last part, the bizarreness.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
All that crazy stuff.
Well, we are very honored to have you in our presence to view such a film. Yeah. And I'm sorry that this offering did not appease you completely.
No.
But 1.5, I think that's fair coming from you and coming from someone with such a breadth of knowledge on it. I thought that the ending approached the heights that I feel it was striving towards, and it locked in for me just for that brief shining moment. And I'm going to have images from that stuck in my head.
Now you mean Act 6, not the epilogue.
Not the epilogue. Not the epilogue.
That's it.
We remove the epilogue, and in my cut, we end it right after that ritual.
Yes.
I mean, what an amazing outro that would have been.
Yeah.
But 2.5 bones, and it's kind of wavering between 2.5 and 2. I think any adventurous people within the sound of my voice should see this in the biggest multiplex you can, because this, I say it a lot.
Right ball.
I say it a lot, but I really feel this is one of the strangest movies we've seen at the multiplex. And I just look around at people on their dates, unsuspecting, and I'm just like...
50 Shades fans.
50 Shades fans just being like, okay, let's follow her wherever she goes.
Kind of girl in our row, and I was worried about her. Like when I woke up from one of the kill scenes, I was like, man, I hope she's not gonna have nightmares, because I am. Like, this is definitely gruesome.
All right, so kind of middle of the road ratings with a little ping up from the lodge mistress.
Upswing.
Because she likes the red hair and the movement and the witches and the camaraderie. Very wonderful to run into you guys here, Nathan and May.
A-list.
Let's go off into the night and have the nightmares and dreams and what have us that this will inspire. Get out of this Burbank parking garage.
Yeah.
Suspiria!
Love at night. They're gonna eat my cunt on a plate.
I wanna be inside you.